And one thing I just realised while editing this is if you look at the ban list, we have 10 cards on it currently. If you go to the Rush Duel ban list for the OCG, the physical format, there's 11 cards. So in the space of 2 months, we've got almost the same amount of hits on our ban list that Rush Duel has in a format with over 1800 cards. Surely, skills and the format and the life point limit is not the issue. Surely. It is time for a brand new ban list update in Duel Links. This time around, we're going to be focusing, I believe, on Speed Duel rather than Rush Duel, which is really cool. Of course, our first one. And I think going into this is, whatever happens on here, there's going to be people complaining, right? Because Rush Duel is so new, there's less than 200 cards in the format. We've had, what, 2 character events, so if character events cards being hit, then that's going to be a little bit bad. Of course, we did just have the Go Hard Rush Festival, and that was a bit of an experience, to say the least. It was mainly going to be Luke-filled, Arias Dragons, normal dragons. There's a few Yugas and Gavins or whatever in here, but mainly most people, if they were playing those characters, they were on some like generic archive skills, right? For example, the Red Eye skill, that was being played with the Rebels, with Yamrula. I would consider to be a tier 0 character in Luke. Now, some people, of course, were playing Luke to metagame. If you're on archive skill, then you kind of made your opponent think maybe on turn 1, you weren't on what you're on, so that was cool, but it does kind of highlight the fact that at the moment, Rush Duels ain't in a great place in Duel Links, and so this needs to go big, because we had the skill changes, and they weren't anything good. We got buffs for Explosion Drive and Superstar Draw, which are welcome, you know, there's skills that don't see play, but there was no nerf to Resonance, which is the main thing, right? Being able to get your Slayer out, buff up level 4, and then loop the back row removal is so big, and I think whatever happens here, that should have been changed. Just straight up, that skill should have been hit. But let's see, 3, 2, 1, we have got, first of all, the Speed Duel spoofing, going to 2, from I believe 1. This is what this card should have been originally, right? When this came out, people were, you know, oh, this guy's going to be really good, and then this came out at 1, and it conflicted, I believe, with Reborn and with the 1-for-1, and so this is a straight buff to the deck. Coming on 26th, so after Christmas, a little Christmas present, pretty cool. But the only Speed Duel hit is, or buff at least I guess, is on spoofing. So the rest hopefully, and I can see, Limit 2 for Rush Duel. Oh boy, let's find out. First of all, we have got the Seahorse Carrier. So what I said about event cards is coming true. So 2 is fine, given we can see here, it's the only one on here. So it is consistently hit, and I do think that sometimes having Carrot 3 can be worse, because you see it turn 1, it's kind of a dead card in terms of value, so in that sense it's fine, but in the future, this could be kind of problematic with Limit 2s being this weird slot for where really powerful cards go, generic cards go, kind of like in the Speed Duel ban list was for a while. But the big thing here is this card is available for 1 week only. Yeah, knowing Mimi is coming back in January, potentially, first event of 2024, this feels a bit bad, right? Given that most of your player base for Rush Duel haven't actually been able to play with this card, at full power at least. It's warranted, but it feels a bit weird. Then, Limit 3s. Okay, so what can they put on this? I'm going to assume it's some dragon hits, so let's see how they butcher this deck, shall we? First of all, is Piercing back Bunker Strike. Okay, so this now clashes with Dragius, with the Phoenix Dragon, meaning I believe you cut this card entirely, or you play 1/1/1 in Resonance builds, but this at 3, drawing into your Slayer, was the biggest bullshit as well, you know, buffing them up. They both then counter out that trap card that negates attacks on level 8s or lowers, because they become level 11, so this I think I'm fine with, but again, it's a free-to-play card, so that just feels really bad, especially when this card is only available in SR ticket, and it's one of the 3 cards available in that ticket. And one of them is an event card that we got 2 weeks prior to coming to ticket. So it just feels bad, right? So far, these changes make sense, but they feel bad. Then I can see Sports Dragon Pitcher going to 3 as well. So God, that's 4 cards for dragons on Limit 3. So I think, God, that's so big as well, because if you cut the pitcher, then you're cutting Slugger. Unless you can't because of the amount of cards you need in the deck, that's just, like, if you're playing the pressure build, right, with the Sparkle, not everyone is, of course, but if you're playing pressure, then you're definitely playing this. And even if you're not, this is too good of a tribute engine to not play, because you can't play Carrier. So you've kind of got to play 2 of this, meaning you play 2 of this plus a Phoenix Dragon, you got this, you got Dragius, you go for Slayer, you go for the Arise Dragon, right, and just have a big beater instead of a pop or a double attack. I guess that's how you do it. Or maybe you go for Triple Slayer, you play 3 of this, and you go all in a back row removal. Of course, depends on what the new box brings in terms of back row, support cards. Yeah, that's not great. And then Clear Ice Dragon. That's a new card for the new Arise Dragon deck. This clashes with Dragius and clashes with the Phoenix Dragon, and that's important because this looping Phoenix Dragon to add back this or level 6 is the main combo of the deck. So you want to play 2 of this, 1 Phoenix Dragon, meaning you do remove Dragius from the deck, and I think that is going to be the core reason for this, is gutting Dragius from that deck. Because having a big 3k pop plus a Dragius could be really, really toxic in certain matchups, and so I think it makes sense, but it is funny. It's really only looking being hit, and also Carrier, indirectly, is a Mimi hit. You know, it wasn't hit because of Mimi, but Mimi's decks that rely on this card being existing, right, because it's an Aqua, it's a name, do get hit more because of it. So hopefully, level cap increase, we get more support, you know, more of the spell cast to make that deck a bit better. That'd be cool. More cards on main box, that'd be cool. That's a really rough balance. Let's go to DLM real quick and see what the decks kind of look like now, because it's gonna paint a pretty dire picture, I think. So we've got the top 100 decks, or at least most of them we could find over on Twitter and on Discord and all that kind of thing, over on duelingsimulator.com, and so far, the first place deck is looking completely fine. You're seeing the Pikachu engine, the Beast engine being played, so maybe Carrier now being hit means this becomes more prevalent. Playing your Gazelle, playing the White Tiger, your Silver Wolf as well, to get some value. So at least there's some options, right? Then we've got, 6th place. There is a more aggro deck. Of course, losing out on one of this, that's completely fine. Consistently hit, okay, sure. Where is some dragons? Oh boy, there it is. So look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards on this are limit 3. And if you include these 3, because you're playing these 3 because of this, that's 12 cards on the deck that kind of fill the same slot. And so I really think you're gunning Dragius, you're gunning these 3, you're gunning a Phoenix Dragon, and you're gunning one of this, and you're playing the Recursion, you're playing the Summons Out. I think that's the way forward. That just kind of makes sense. Like maybe you go for double Dragius, one of this. It just... Bunker Strike, I think, just gets removed entirely, which was a huge value generation, right? It did suck playing against Dragons, where they go, some Bunker Strike, you have 3 on your board because you kind of have to, and then they draw 3, and then suddenly, 2 materials, Infius Slayer, pop back row, double attack. It was not fun to play against. But that is, you're just gonna see that the Dragons just, that they deserved it, but could this have been avoided by just changing the skill to work on, say, level 5 or higher, rather than making Slayer this instant free back row pop by having this plus level 4 or level 3? Probably, but it's clear they want to keep this around, and hopefully some new lease of life for Rush Duel. It's been a bit stale. I think that people are kind of burnt out on the format, given the Rush Cup was just Luke. You can scroll down, and it's all Luke. It's always been Luke. Look more Luke. There's some Dragoncaster, there's some Spellcasters, there's some Yam Rulers, which was pretty... This was a fun deck. To play Yam Ruler plus the Rares package was really fun. That's why I played. But more dragons. So you look here for this one, right? You're going to be gutting one of the carriers. You might go to Pikachu, you might not. You're going to be gutting the Dragius, gutting one of this. And so they do lose a lot of their luster. But I think if you were thinking of cutting this blue dragon at all and keeping Dragius, then you're dumb. Because this, having the pop of this, is like the main part of the deck. Otherwise, you're playing a worse version of dragons anyway. So yeah, that's my raw thoughts on the Banlist. A bit weird, but definitely needed. But it feels weird because there's solo cards in the format, and they're hitting really only free-to-play cards. And so, when you want people to kind of come to the format, I don't think free-to-play cards being hit is the best way of doing that. But the format is so new, the hitting people's investments outright would probably have been the worst move. And it's the same thing for Speed Duel, right? These new, longer box schedules mean when a Banlist does come, and your deck is hit, and it's relatively new in terms of card releases, then it feels worse than if it was like the same box schedule. The same one each month, one every 2 months, and your deck can hit, feels a lot worse. So I'm looking forward to 26th, right? Because by then, hopefully, we'll have some leaks for the brand new Rush Duel main box. And so hopefully, things do pick up for Rush Duel. I would hope. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you all in the next Duel Links video. See you then.